Hi, hello, happy Sabbath and Shabbat Shalom. Okay, I'm still, as of this week, progressively, slowly working on the tallow refining project. That stuff I hope will this week be done. Enough to put in here with the other tallow. At least for this stage. That stuff is actually different chemically, and so the end result may end up that mixing it might be a bad idea. Even though this, when it's cool, is solid or semi-solid, it's going to be darker, and so it might not come out as well. And I still have the rest of the tallow still in that aluminum pressure kettle there. Again, I don't know what I'll get done before Passover. I'd like to be able to have it all ready for my friend to use. But on the other hand, I've been working on this. This is a custom ground part being literally made out of concrete rebar. And I'm just slowly feeding it down on the quill feed with the grinder and moving it over a little bit. And you can see the pattern of the grinder grit where I masked it with a piece of cloth to an old t-shirt to keep it out of the way, to keep it from damaging the machine. And then I also have this leather over here to kind of help displace some of that, just to keep it from getting anywhere. It's not perfect, but it's, and I'll come back and clean the whole system very meticulously before what I'll do is I'll come in phases to clean off the bulk of everything, and then when I get all that cleaned off, you see I got this down here to keep the waves clean. Then I will very gently move the machine over just a little bit this direction. Well, actually, like I said, I'll clean that. Well, I'll clean all the surfaces that I can reach first, and then I'll use some starting fluid and kind of use some jet wash these out a little bit, and then spray some fresh grease on it. Move it over, and then jet wash that side, and do the same. That way, I reduce the chances of contaminating any of those surfaces with abrasive. Other than that, the part is waiting on this tool to be made. And I got these bushings here. Sorry, I got a little phlegm in my throat today. The idea is I'm going to go ahead and turn this down and polish it till these 12 millimeter bushings fit. And when they do, then I will use a piece of pipe that I found. It's the only piece of pipe I have around here that is the right size. Oh, it's out here actually, isn't it? No, I moved it. I thought I'd set it right here. I haven't set it very far from here, but alright. So I can't find the pipe. It's just a piece of regular common black pipe that's just about the size of this, but that's my brother's jack handle. I'm not going to mess that up. Where did I put that piece of pipe? How annoying. Oh, there it is. It's on top of the bandsaw. Where, this end is cruddy looking, and it'll have to be cleaned out very carefully and bored to diameter. But anyhow, I did clean this side off just to make certain I knew what the general, actual diameter is with the caliper, and that it's actually going to have anything left. And then I'll insert that inside a larger pipe to give it some more rigidity. Although this will be a very low load machine, as in it will have very little power, very little torque. I still want to have it rigid so that it has no flex and deviation. Alright, so that's all that got done on the mechanical side this week. Now going over to this corner, I'm intentionally not going downstairs, not because nothing happened down there. Well, although nothing happened down there. It's because it is because nothing happened down there, and I haven't done anything other than a minor, tiny amount of grass growing over where I've worked, because nothing's been happening down there. And I don't think the poke has come up yet. Don't think the poke has poked its head up yet. So all these flowers are still expanding, and you see these little flowers. And it's not that there aren't a few little flowers of different kinds downstairs, but they'll be there next week in much more abundance. So, but this group is coming up quite healthily. This little plant is starting to open up, and it'll have blooms on it here in oh, just a little while. Couldn't tell you exactly when, but not a long time from now. Again, we'll have the orange cocoons will be out pretty soon. And then let's see if I have not even checked to see if the crepe myrtle has even opened up. And even if it did, it's probably a month or two after it opens before it flowers. So unfortunately, it's not a real early bloomer, if it even blooms at all. It's pretty late. And everything blooms later around here than it does outside of our valley, because of the temperature extremes or something, I don't know. So no visual evidence anywhere from top to bottom on here of any kind of greening up yet. And I really don't know those plants very well at all. Down here in the plum community, which we to this point have out of any and all plums around here, very few that even blossom. I think this is the first year this one's ever blossomed, but it probably will put on a few blossoms. Whether it puts on any fruit or not, anybody's guess. And the ones, like I say, between not spraying them in time and the ones not having good, healthy fruit, they've cast a lot in the past, so I haven't really gotten anything out of them yet. Someday, hopefully. This one has the annoying trait of being in the middle of the road. Now that's not its fault, it's my fault for picking a place. It was already existing before, you know, it was there before I decided to make a road here, so it's not at fault. Well, it's a plant. How can you say, oh, you know what, I'm going to get right in the middle of somebody's way? No, obviously it didn't. See up this hillside if we got any of those downstairs flowers opening up to save me the knowing that I hadn't filmed any or not. But right over here sometimes some of the lower bed flowers will show up. Now some of our ubiquitous verbena are here. All along here will be a lot of flowers in a few weeks when they decide it's time to get the lead out, wake up their little sleepy heads. That little plant hopefully will flower again this year. Since they ate it down so bad, it hasn't wanted to flower so much. But hopefully, that's why it's in a cage, so that if I can't get it out of there before I put the girls back in there, that they can hopefully not destroy it. But it won't last forever in there. And of course, more new young volunteer daffodils and irises. And one thing about this area is the flowers propagate wonderfully all on their own. They just do. The soil is so ideal for the flowers that they just come up all on their own. I did try something, whether it'll work or not, and even if it, I don't even know if that last year went or not. Been any one year, I never know if this really old asparagus, if it's this last year or not. But I went ahead and I put a little fertilizer down. Never done that before. It might help it, it might not. And of course the cherry trees are coming out, and the little bloom heads are starting to open up a little at a time. So they'll be flowering. They flower whether they make any fruit or not. So, and then of course eventually one day they might make good cherry wood. So they're valued in any case. That's why I've gone around pruning them up and making them tall and straight where I can. Again, no changes over here this week. Over here we are in the you know, the stages of blooming that these oh yeah, there are some hyacinths over here after all. I didn't remember if there were over here or not. So a little colony of hyacinth here. Don't know how long it's been there, but not long enough for me to remember where it's at all the time. I don't know if this has started growing yet or not. Does not appear to have yet. But that's probably going to come up a little later in the year. I don't see any sprigs yet. I suppose one could go through here in the middle of winter and cut that clean, but I'm too lazy. More hyacinths, even more hyacinths. Some of these hyacinths are new, and they're just very happy here, but eventually when I make this pond and everything complete, then they'll have to be moved up into the park area. But looks like something trampled it. A deer must have stepped on it or something. I ain't been over here. I've seen a few stepped on flowers here and there, but not any of them that I stepped on. And the goats won't eat them, neither will the deer, because they're poisonous. So one thing I don't have to worry about is them being eaten. Let me kind of backtrack just a little ways just to point out the verbena here. I'm going to raise the camera up high so I can get a better view of it. In fact, if I come over here, I might get even better yet. So, yeah, the verbena will bloom as long as it's above like 75 degrees or so. And it'll just coat this hill. Well, that's odd. I don't know what that gray powdery looking stuff is, but I just think it's some dead leaves of some other kind of plant. Or it could just be frostbitten verbena leaves or something. I don't know. Not for sure. So I'm over here. Let's see if the apple tree has yet started to open up yet or not. Maybe. It might be ready to open up. Some of the beds look like they're swelling. A little too soon to know for sure. But let's go back over this direction. Across all these irises here and these lilies here. And the collection of walnut shells. Thank you to the squirrels for taking care of my walnut infestation. Literally. Seen a lot more squirrels this year than I have in the past, and I kind of hope they improve so I can keep control of the excess nut population. Again, these different lilies over here, they're a little earlier, a little larger. The deer seem to get to them way too quickly. Then the black raspberries are starting to open up pretty good here. On the overall, they're looking pretty hopeful for a nice, abundant crop this year, I hope. It'll be the first one that's gotten more than a couple hands full out of it. But then again, it's a fairly young colony. Okay, going back over here to these hyacinths. It's about the best they're ever going to get, I'm guessing, as far as their peak of bloom beauty. So I freeze frame as best I can with my hands shaking so a person can make use of the screenshot if they want to. Again, all the flowers around here, you do with them anything you want. There's pictures, no license discrepancy or anything like that. I like to share flowers when I can. Wish I had more to share, but things are just not set up right here yet. Eventually, I'm going to have this place, Yahweh willing, completely covered in flowers from top to bottom. Everywhere that it's not a crop or a goat pen. And then the tea roses, it's coming along. They're propagating. There's more than one now. In fact, there's probably a dozen little ones. And I may literally train them down the road. I don't know. I've also been thinking about getting service berries, and because they're deer repellent. or flowering quince because they're so thick that the deer can't get through them. We shall see. Of course, the red buds are starting to open up. Now again, everything here is later than outside this valley. A lot of places, everything's in full bloom already. It starts coming out a lot sooner than we get it. So we're behind on that. But on the other side, we tend to have a longer flowering season than most everywhere. Everybody else will bloom out real early, look great for a month or two, then go flat. And we'll start blooming a month later, but then we will bloom all the way to frost. So instead of having a short blooming season, we have a long one. And I don't know why. I don't know if it has to do with moisture, the minerals, the latitude, the times of hours in the day, whatever it is. And I've been very carefully putting hay down through here to both, on the one hand, distribute seed, and the other is to reduce dryness and reduce erosion. So by adding hay over here, I'm trying to increase the greenness of the field. This dark area right here was an area where I've dumped a lot of hay, and the grass all in there has come from the seed. And all that seeds kind of come from there. Although it's also, some of this is some ancient grass that's just coming up because it's got a lot of water. And there's some ancient grass over there that has survived just because we don't have geese anymore. And or there's seeding coming off of that old hay feed point there. And that's the case in the other field too, is that there's new hay seeding in, new grass seeding in from the administration of years of hay and allowing it to settle and compost. Over here, I've been watching this gentian, or gentian, or how you might pronounce it, and, uh-oh, something doesn't look right. Oh, there it is. I gotta be careful though not to touch it or it'll break. There it is. It's just really, really, like this, tiny there. Them three little teeny prongs, or at least it looks like three. I don't have my proper reading glasses on. Anyhow, it's still growing. Hasn't died yet. So I'm very hopeful for it. Just gotta be careful not to touch it while it's tender and snap it off and end up killing it myself through clumsiness. Because I already bumped its first bud off and put it in a setback mode, so that was my fault. I should have just kept my hands away from it. But being me, I was stupid enough to reach out and touch it, and clink, there went my first yearly bud, so it had to start over again. But it did, thankfully, a couple weeks later, and now those buds are getting along, thickening out, and they'll probably take a while, especially since I, upset the surface of it. Other than that, the tiger lilies are coming up. And again, these should come up as much as 6 feet tall, 7 feet tall, and put on some beautiful flowers. I'll probably go ahead and put some more sheet metal over here just to protect them and the grapevines. Just because the goats like them and they're easy to reach. This little knob of grass here, I'm very happy for. It's come up all on its own. I don't know how to safely propagate it, so for right now I'm just letting it work on itself. But it looks like it'd be a good enduring winter-proof grass. This is some of the same in this little box. It's portable, but I'm not ready to move it just yet because it's being watered and I haven't decided where to best put it, or if I need to break it up into little pieces or not. Okay, of course the boys are just the boys. I mean, not much difference in them today as from any previous time when you might have seen them. But just there's Hans, our big nosy leader, and that's he's the son of Mocha, who I call Nosy. And then Junior there quietly behind him, very timid and placid like, but very pretty and cute. And then Hansel over here is laying down at the moment, just chilling, but he's a real snuggle bug. And then Franz, who's not a real sociable one, but he will come over sometime, especially during feeding time. And then, of course, Ginger here. I'm hoping she's pregnant. I'd love it if they were all pregnant, but I don't think they are, except her. She's starting to put on an udder and having other signs of pregnancy that are very encouraging. And so next time Idamore hoof trimmers come around, we're going to get her sonogrammed and see if she's pregnant or not. If she doesn't pop before then, all on her own. But she's Snap's mama. Snap is her first baby, and so whoever comes next will be her second baby. Maybe she'll have twins or triplets, who knows. We can hope, because they make really good, fine stock. They're strong, disease-resistant, intelligent, active, hardy, and if you handle them well enough to keep them where they're not wild like this one, they tend to be really wonderful field animals. So over here we have, besides our continuous snowstorm from Mr. O'Malley, lots and lots. This is the winter rye coming up, and it'll come up here for a while, and they'll eat it down for a while. And then there's that green stuff that I don't know, it's not clover, but some kind of other. In fact, it's more spring weather kind of plant, like almost like these henbit are spring weather mint. And then over in this corner over here, I know we were just over there a minute ago, but the corner over here, this is what I was talking about before. I've been dumping hay over here for years. And now all this area from just about right here over to those branches, that corner had been totally bare, like over in the other field. But enough hay, both compost and seed, has filled this in finally. It started to in a previous year, but when we had Dustin out here and he was on that same tire as Mr. O'Malley making those drag tracks, he went round and round through here and tore it all up and killed off what was there. So since Mr. O'Malley is not quite as destructive with the tire, he's kind of not doing so much damage. He'll get stuck on that fence though sometimes, so I have to get over there and get him unstuck from the fence. Some old trees falling down, I got to knock off the fence row, and just lots and lots of fixing to do, of course. Of course, as you see, the storms have blown the shingles down over the years, so I'll have to do something about that eventually. And I got to put the grapevine back up across the top eventually here. It's easier to pick in that condition, but I'd rather have it up high near the top like it is underneath there. I think that's better for it. And also the airflow, carbon dioxide comes out of the greenhouse through those vents, so if I have it up, that was the idea of keeping it up anyhow. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a hook up under here somehow. I'm going to try to reach out there and put a hook up in there so that I can, because I've got a hook around this corner, but it doesn't really pull it up high enough. So I'd like to pull it up high enough that it's all the way back up in there. The only problem is I got to be careful how I do it, or I'll end up having it permanently hooked up there and I won't be able to lower it back down to pick the fruit off of it. And you know, any one given year I might never have any fruit on it, so we might say, well, you might as well leave it the way it is. And arguably that's true, but if I can, I'll figure out a way. If I had planned all this, this all happened on its own. If I had planned all this, I would have set up pulleys along here and cables and even pulleys on soft loops on the grapevine so that I could raise and lower the grapevine. Lower it all the way down for harvest and then raise it right back up for the rest of the time. But as it is, yeah, just kind of videoing more of the red buds around here that I didn't shoot earlier. And then, of course, later, much later in the year, the mimosas will come out and they'll throw their seeds down, and I'll have to, you know, chase mimosa and redbud seedlings all over the place, but I'm not worried about it right now. That's pretty much everything. Now, as far as what's going on inside, I just keep right now I've been spraying the spider plants right where they sit. They're still alive. They seem to even be stabilizing just a little bit somehow. Not for sure, if it's my imagination. One reason I don't want to record in there right now is because Mom's got her YouTube video sound music streaming, and it'll come over the thing, and they don't like when I do that. And really, there's no visible change to anything at this point. If I can catch it, if I can do video when she's either not home or not awake, then I can do an update. But I can already hear the radio from here. So eventually I'll be turning this fan back on for the summer, although it's not going to do so much because I've got this in the way. It might not be of any use. The way I can make it work possibly is to raise the thing up over that hole. I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. Ultimately, I may actually mount the fan inside the milk room, poking through the wall, or up in that cabin there with a vent downwards or something. I don't know. It's too soon to say. Besides, I got to clear all this completely out, all the way down, dig it down, and fix it all, and that's going to probably require me to, it's going to require a whole summer. Did you get stuck over there? Maybe. Oh, no, you got unstuck. Okay. Yeah, goofy kid. Alright, well, I've got to feed them, and I've got to get ready for church and everything, so that's going to be it. We will talk to you later.